In today's episode of the Creative Ramblings podcast, I am interviewing an expert teacher and very inspiring laser user who is going to share some tips with us for beginner laser users. Hi, and welcome to the Creative Ramblings podcast. If you are new here, thank you for joining us. Consider subscribing so you don't miss our next episode. Here on this podcast, we have conversations about all types of craft topics, and I bring in some guests who are experts in their fields. Today, we are talking with Betzy from Amore to Create, and she is a laser user extraordinaire. And she's really talking with us today and sharing some tips about how to get started with your laser, how to perfect your craft, and how to go on and make a profit in your business. So, we're going to talk with Betzy in just a moment. Before I get into that, I want to talk about some news and deals that are going on in the craft world. If you want to skip this part, just hit that next chapter button and you'll be taken over to my interview with Betzy. Let's talk about those deals and a little bit of news. It is the week of March 19th, and right now we are still right in the middle of National Craft Month, which happy National Craft Month to you. If you're listening, you are probably a crafter. Make sure to check out your favorite small and large businesses. They are probably running some kind of special deals just for us right now. Let's start with Cricut. They are running 50% off all materials. Always a good time to stock up if you need some vinyl or HTV or cardstock or whatever it is you are looking for. They're also running a bundle sale right now through the 22nd. So I always recommend if you are looking for a new machine, look at bundles because they are going to come with materials, tools, accessories, all at one low price. And it's a great way to just really get started as soon as that machine comes in the mail to you. Next up, let's talk about Creative Fabrica. To celebrate National Craft Month, they are kicking off just over a week of deals going on starting tomorrow and running through the 29th of March. There are going to be daily giveaways and free bundles on their website. I'm going to link that down in the description. And all you have to do to be entered to win the giveaways is purchase or renew your membership. The Creative Fabrica membership is about $47 a month, or excuse me, not a month, it's $47 a year. And you have access to all of their design elements, their fonts, uh, anything you need for crafting is there. But they also have really cool AI tools and a studio. They have a background remover feature. It's a really great deal for just $49 a year. So if you've been looking for a place to find designs, definitely check that out. I just recently reviewed a 3D printer on this channel. I have always wanted a 3D printer, and this one came to me and it is really fitting the bill. It is inexpensive. It's under $200 right now. And my kids and I have been using it to do all kinds of cool toy stuff. But I have started using it for my lasers. I am trying to make little jigs to hold pieces in place. So if you're ever lasering something and working with an object that maybe might move around with your air assist, you want to create little clamps or a little jig or something to hold it in place, a 3D printer can really fit that bill. So I have an initial review of the printer that went up earlier this week, and I will have a video out in a couple weeks on all the different ways I am using this for my laser. But it's super cute, super compact, and under $200 right now. In laser news, Xtool is running a spring sale and they have kind of a tiered discounts. So the more you spend, the more you save. For example, if you spend $16.99 on anything on their site, you could take an extra $100 off. In addition to these tiered discounts, they do have some really deep initial discounts on their machines. So the P2, the big CO2 laser, is $1,500 off. And the M1 Ultra is just under $1,000 for the machine right now. Deals on all of their machines. So if you are interested in a laser or if you need materials, Xtool has a really deep supply of all kinds of different materials. There are some good sales right now, so go check that out. We Create, another laser company that I love, is launching a brand new laser tomorrow. I have it. I love it. And I have a video going up on that machine tomorrow. Probably not in the morning, but it'll be up in the afternoon. And I'm going to go deep dive into what that laser can do and who it's for. And finally, we've been talking about DTF printers every week. I really think DTF and specialty printers are like the new craft tech in 2025. We have seen them by all kinds of companies. They are everywhere. Xtool has launched their apparel printer, still on Kickstarter through, I believe, April 11th. And you could get some really good deals on that. But it will print DTF sheets that you can then press onto any kind of fabric. It also comes with a shaker oven, so it puts the powder on it for you and cures it, does the whole process. So I have the DTF printer from Xtool. I have just started using it. I am in the very early stages. As soon as I have a good enough understanding of the machine and how it works, I am going to share a video with you. So hopefully by next week, I will have something out and you could take a look at it and make a really informed decision on whether or not this is something that you want to add to your craft room. If you're watching this and you are interested in the DTF printer and you have questions, drop them in the comments. I am trying to compile some questions so I can do a little Q&A when I do publish that first video. Lots of good deals, lots of stuff going on this week as we kind of come to the end of National Craft Month. Take anything I mentioned here is going to be linked down in the description so you can go take a look at that. Today, we are talking with Betzy from Amore to Create. She is a content creator specializing in DIY and crafting with a focus on laser engraving and sublimation. Her goal is to help us master our craft and turn creativity into a profitable business. Her passion lies in inspiring, teaching, and connecting with others through DIY projects. Let's talk with Betzy. Hi, Betzy. Welcome.
Hi, Sarah. Sarah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the
I
opportunity.
Absolutely. I am so glad you're here. Betsy, you and I are both laser users. I see some lasers and other things in the background there. We spend our days teaching other people how to create and how to use these machines. And so I'd love for you to just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got to where you are today.
Well, let me start a little bit from the beginning. But
Yeah.
hi, my name is Betsy. I am the owner of Amore to Create, where I connect the best brands with creators, doing all kinds of crafts, specializing with laser engraving and sublimation, and mixing it with other kind of crafts once in a while to make it more interesting. But yes, I connect the best brands and help everybody to get used to a laser, get the best laser for them, and make all the things with the lasers.
Fantastic. And that's so important because there's a lot of people out there thinking, well, could I use a laser? Can I try this? Where do I start? And you help people figure out like where to start, which is so good. So how did you are a content creator? That is what you do. You teach us all how to do this. How did you get started as a content creator?
I think a lot of us has been here like by coincidence, right? Like something happened in your life, you're like, should I do this? So that was me. I have always been creating items and things. I am a military spouse, so
Mhm,
I always try to start a business, but it never worked because we move every other year, and
mhm,
having a business was very hard. I have my
mhm,
embroidery machine, paid it up very fast, got four, started a business, shut down, moved away, back again, and so on. So, and I was always looking for a laser,
mhm,
but I never had the opportunity or the space. And then thinking
mhm,
I had to sell it every other year, so I don't want to.
mhm,
So that was on hold. But so I was creating for content creation. I was creating one day something with die cuttings with paper,
mhm,
and
mhm.
this company sent me an email, and I said, "Do you want to be a brand ambassador?" And back then, it was just fun, right? I'm
Yeah.
doing this just for fun. I might as well receive the items that I don't have to buy and create
Mhm,
content. So that's how I started with brand collaborations, only for as an ambassador, nothing like professional. They send
mhm,
me the items, I make some take some pictures, send it to them, and then I got another company and so on. So but something everything was on part-time basis and
mhm,
on hold because I move a lot, so I had
mhm,
so many weeks that I had to like pack everything and then unbox it, so I cannot do that like professionally, or have the
mhm,
space or the lights or everything. So that's how I started. I kind of like it, and then our community is awesome. And some
Mhm.
creators ask for like live videos or projects, and it was interesting, and I loved it.
Mhm.
And that's how I started doing some content, but like kind of a not professional way, just to have fun. That's how I started.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, and I think it takes so much energy to do what you're doing because you are moving so often, and so you have to be really careful about what machines do I have, what can I move, how do I do this, and so I could totally understand how you're careful about what you get into because that can be a chore down the road.
Oh, definitely, especially talking about lasers. I always wanted a laser, but I was living overseas when,
Oh,
yes, when Glowforge had that crowdfunding that they were showing the Glowforge. So
yeah.
I couldn't buy it because I was living overseas. And I was
Uh-huh.
thinking, okay, it's big, it's heavy. And when we move, we have certain pounds that we cannot go over. So I had to
Oh.
get rid of a lot of stuff because if not, we had to pay over that amount. And it's not fun that I had to pay for something when I don't. I'm moving because they are
Yeah.
send us
Yeah.
to someplace else, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't get the laser because of that. And then we moved from overseas to the United States. We had never moved within the United States. We always
Oh,
moved
okay.
overseas to the States. And this was the first time that we moved within the United States.
All right.
So, and I was gonna move by myself with my son because my youngest son, because my husband was deployed. But
Oh.
before he was moving, I talked to him because he was gonna be in a position that he needed a lot of items for volunteers, for military families. And I talked to him and said, "Okay, I have something that I want to buy. I'm gonna buy it with my money, of course. Everything I buy is with my money that I make selling stuff. And you don't have to buy those items. I'm gonna make those items for you, but you're
Oh,
gonna pay
perfect.
me for that." And that's how
Uh-huh.
I got my first laser. As soon as I moved to that new duty station, I thought, okay, I'm gonna have this laser for 2 years and
Mhm.
create these items for him. He's gonna
Mhm.
pay me, and everything is gonna be fine. That
Yeah.
was a turning history because I got my glow forge. I decided to get the basic, thinking I had to sell it, so let me get the cheapest one, right?
Yeah.
Or the most affordable one, I should say. And
Yeah.
I got that laser on 2019 and
Mhm.
started making items for him. Well, everybody started seeing these items, and this fellow military spouse asked me for a name tag
Mhm.
because 2020 hit.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody was wearing masks.
Uh-huh.
So you couldn't see the faces of the people. So she wanted name tags for everybody, but fancy name tags so she could see the
Mhm.
names. And that led to another, and the voice spread out on base. And I paid my laser in less than 6 months,
Oh my
making so
goodness.
many items. It was overwhelming. I couldn't, like, it was so much work that I had. So something that started
Yeah.
only to help my husband ended up
Uh-huh.
kind of, or an expansion of my business per se, and really starting my business.
Mhm.
But then I had to move again, and luckily luckily we moved from the we were living Midwest, so we're moving back to the East Coast.
Mhm.
But we were moving to an apartment, so I had to get
Oh.
rid of like 75% of my stuff. I saw like
Oh.
10 sewing machines, 2 embroidery machines, a lot of
Oh.
crafting. Like I got rid of so much stuff because I want to keep my laser. So I have to have
Yeah.
a balance.
Yup.
So I got my laser, but I have space in the den of the apartment. It was in spacious apartment. And
Mhm.
then the X2 M1 was
Mhm.
showing that new machine that they were releasing that was comparing with the Cricut. I
Uh-huh.
really wanted to make bigger items
Mhm.
and tumblers, something that I couldn't do
Yes.
with my Glowforge.
Yes.
So I jumped into that Kickstarter event. I
Mhm.
got there the beginning and started reading a lot. I like to learn, like right out of the
Mhm.
bat before the things get to me. And I was reading a lot. And they formed this page on Facebook, and I was answering questions because I was reading a lot. So
Mhm.
the company asked me if I want to be a tester.
Nice.
And I said, oh, sure. But I didn't know
Send me
that.
a machine,
Oh,
please.
yes. But I didn't know that we're going to send me a machine. They said,
Oh,
we're going to
okay.
send you another machine before your machine arrives so you can
Okay.
test that one. It's not going to be maybe the same. It was the same, but maybe some details on the base and things like that. You tested it. So I was using that machine like almost all day long.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I learned that machine a lot. They love my content, and then they ask for more content and more content, and that's one thing led to another that had to change my business to
Mm-hmm.
teach and help with videos and stuff like that, and that's how everything changed again.
Yes.
So that's why I
Yes.
always say I love my glow forge and I'm very appreciative of how I got it. But with how everything is going, you can get other options right now
Mm-hmm.
besides that. And how that's how I started with the content creation. I got my M1 that I got two,
Mm-hmm.
the tester one and my one, the one for me, the one that I pay
Mm-hmm.
for. Then I got the P2
Mm-hmm.
that same year. I did 10 videos for them for YouTube. And
Uh-huh.
then the end of that year, I believe, or the beginning of the next year, I got the S1 and I
Mm-hmm.
got the F1
All
from
right.
Etsy. So that's how I started with my content creator. And then last year we create, I think you have the vision
Yep. The
too,
We
right?
Create. Yep. The vision. Uh-huh.
The Vista, and I got the vision
Mm-hmm.
first, and then they were not very, because some companies see your numbers on social media,
Uh-huh.
right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, we're looking for somebody with like maybe 200,000 or a million thousand or a million. I'm like, okay, just give me one and you'll see my content, and that's how you get
Yes.
them, right?
Exactly. Well, and I think that's an important point because just because we don't have the following, you are such a good teacher.
Thank
I
you.
swear I've learned everything I know about tumblers from you. Because like you
Oh,
said, you read and you learn and then you go answer other people's questions. And yeah, I'm sure We Create loves that you're an ambassador for them because you do create really good content with that Vista.
yeah,
So
but they
you
didn't
I
know much. They didn't know much, like you say, until I made that first video, and that's how you get
Mhm.
them. You're like, okay, this is what I have. Now what?
Yes, exactly. I love your story. So you started in a way that you wanted a laser, and through your local community, you created a business. And I think anybody can do that. Maybe they're not a military spouse, but who is in their community and what niche can they fill? Like, what's that need? Like, I'm sure you didn't go into this thinking, I'm going to make name tags during COVID. Like, that wasn't what you thought, but that's what happened. And it worked. So that's really, there are so many options that you can do with lasers. And you have quite a few. So you mentioned different names. You have a CO2 laser, you have diode lasers. So if somebody is looking at getting into a laser, maybe they want to buy their first one, what is a good place to start?
Well, it depends. I always say that question comes to me every single day. Like,
Yeah.
what's the best laser? And I always tell people
Mm-hmm.
the question that you should ask: what's the best laser for me? Right?
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
everybody has a different history, a different family. You live in a different
Mm-hmm.
place, so there's so
Mm-hmm.
many parts of your environment that you need to take in consideration before getting a piece of equipment that's maybe going to change the way that you live, the way that you craft, or the way that
Mm-hmm.
you start a business. Like
Mm-hmm.
this year, I got my Eon Mira
Yeah.
9, which it has been on my mind, on my dreams before the
Yep.
Glow Force, thinking that I will never gonna have something so big, so professional, so commercial. And here I
Mm-hmm.
am. I have it, and I can tell you, I am having the best time of my life with that machine. And
Oh,
I thought it was going to be complicated, which is not. I'm learning light burn and so
uh-huh.
many things, and it's like all my machines in one, which
Oh my
means a
gosh.
lot. So it's a dream
Yeah.
come true. Yes, I'm very happy with that opportunity. But like you say,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people ask, tell me which one is the best.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
always ask them three questions. And I tell, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you these questions. You're going to answer them for yourself. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you want me to help you, I can help you with the answer, depending on the answer that you give me. The first question is budget. What's your
Mm-hmm.
budget, right? Because if I have $10,000, it's not the same if I have $1,000. So it depends on
Mm-hmm.
your budget to start narrowing down the laser that is best for you.
Mhm.
The budget. After the budget, I always ask the space that you have in your house.
Mhm.
Because you can have
Mhm.
all the budget, but you don't have space. Like when I was living in an apartment, I couldn't have
Yeah.
my Mira 9 with me. So
No.
that's another thing. So budget, space. And then the
Mhm.
third one, and I think is the most important one, what are you planning to make and why?
Mhm.
Because a lot of people want a laser because I just saw these little pencils that I want to make. Or
Mhm.
somebody say, I saw this big sign that I want to make.
Mhm.
So it depends why you want it, and the level of commitment that you have for the
Mhm.
laser.
Mhm.
Like I said before, I got my glow force thinking I was going to make only awards. And
Mhm.
after that, I made cookie jars, I made name tags, I made lanterns, I made like
Mhm.
hundreds of lanterns where I live. So it depends on your you always also have to make a market research because some people
Yeah.
sell locally, some people sell
Mhm.
online. So those three questions that I mentioned are going to help you decide what type of laser. And if you want to start with something small, thinking, okay, I have the budget for another laser, but let me start with something small to see if this is for me, because it could be like you don't like it, right? It's
Yeah.
possible. Some
Yeah.
people buy a Cricut, some people buy die cutting machines, and that this is not for
Mhm.
me. And then you're like, okay, now what?
Yeah,
It's a lot of
exactly.
money. So
Yes.
those are
Those are
the three
great
questions.
questions. I love that because there is no one size fits all. I mean, there's dozens of lasers out there and all these different companies, and it can be overwhelming. So to ask yourself, what do you want to make? What's your budget? What's your space? I can't imagine having a glow forge in an apartment. Like that's impressive because you had to figure out like ventilation and all of that stuff, but you made it work.
Yes, yeah, that's another thing that you have to think. Like I am in a basement right now, and
Hmm.
for a laser, you need ventilation. Like you say, there's
Hmm.
options that you can get, but I always say, although you may get an air filter or air purifier or something that to hook your laser, you need air coming in and out. Doesn't
Yes.
matter. Doesn't matter that you have your laser connected to something. You need air
Hmm.
circulating. It's like sublimation.
Yeah.
Sublimation is great, but you need air circulating. People don't realize that there's
Yeah.
gases around you that you don't see, but you breathe
Yep.
it. So
Hmm.
no matter where you are, you need that oxygen and clean air in your space. So that's important. So that's included on the space.
Yes, exactly. Because that would be the worst thing is you get it home and think you can just put this in your dining room or something. And then your whole family's like, wait a minute, I don't like that smell. So to understand your space and the airflow and all of that, but budget too, because we're looking at, I think you can get the Vista. It's a 10-watt diode laser for like $800. And it's a great laser and it can do so much. But then we can go up to $5,000-6,000 on a CO2 laser. And so really figuring out what you want to do and what projects you want to make. So if somebody is looking at, let's say, a diode laser, because I feel like these are so affordable, and a diode laser is also called like a blue light laser, they tend to be less expensive. What could somebody make with a diode laser?
The first thing that I always tell people about the diode laser, because if I said I want a diode laser, but that cuts acrylic.
Ah,
It's
yes.
like, okay, let's start from the beginning.
Yes, yes.
Diode lasers are great, affordable, lightweight,
Hmm.
which is another thing that's important because I cannot move my Mira by myself or my glow
No,
by
no.
myself, right? So
Uh-uh.
usually a diode laser you can move it by yourself.
Hmm.
But if you want a diode laser, you take consideration that you shouldn't buy a diode laser for acrylic. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. Yes, you can cut some color of acrylic, like I have some in here actually, like black, yellow, and other colors.
Hmm.
But diode lasers are not meant for acrylic. And
No,
I like
they're
to
not.
say that over and over again because I don't
Yep.
like people heartbroken when they get a diode
Yep.
laser. And
Well,
they're,
how
oh
many
my
times do you see that in the Facebook groups of the laser groups of people going, why won't my M1 cut this clear acrylic? And I'm like, oh, I feel so sad that they made the decision to buy it and didn't know that they couldn't do that.
exactly. And if their projects, like you can buy something and say, okay, I just want to test this. It's different. Like I have all these projects that I have in my mind to be doing
Uh-huh.
acrylic. It's different.
Uh-huh.
So that's, I always say that if you have the budget to save a little bit more to get a CO2 laser, get it. But a diode laser is great. Like people
Hmm.
say you cannot engrave glass, and I can say that you can engrave glass
Yes.
beautifully, like so
Hmm.
beautiful. Yeah, you need some paint and some mediums to do it, but it's achievable, and
Hmm.
is you can do it. Because
Hmm.
with my M1, I think my, because the difference with the diode laser and the CO2 laser is that um, the laser is finer on the
Hmm.
diode, so it's
Hmm.
more, the definition is better on the
Yeah.
glass, so I like it a lot. But in
Hmm.
terms of the diode, if somebody wants a diode and you have the money and you want to start with that, I think that's the best way to start, with the
Yeah.
diode, because it's affordable, it's lightweight. You don't have to have it in your dining room, like you said. You can have it
Hmm.
someplace else, and you
Yep.
can move it around. Like all my
Hmm.
tables have wheels,
Yeah,
uh,
same. Yep.
right? Because to for maintenance,
Hmm.
for recording, and if I had to
Hmm.
move it by the window, I can do it too. So
Hmm.
have a diode with a good table, and if you outgrow that diode, you can have a goal of maybe, okay, my next one is going to be a CO2 laser, but
Hmm.
start with something that you can manage, that you can learn fast, because they are very fast to learn. And
Hmm.
usually, like the We Create and the X will have their own software that
Yeah.
you don't have to invest in Lightburn yet. If you want to, you can, but you don't have to invest.
Hmm.
And using their software, so the costs are minimal depending on what type of material do you buy. And start with wood. There's so many type of wood that you can use,
Hmm.
and then cutting, engraving, buying items by itself. I buy like frames and this just engrave them, and that's
Yeah.
another thing. Or cutting and putting over, so you don't have to do everything from scratch. You can do every, and that's a big advantage of the diode, and affordable, lightweight, and you can start with one. Take in
Hmm.
consideration the watts. Like a 10 watts is not the same as a 20 watts and a
Yeah.
40 watts. There's a time difference on them, and I like to say
Yep.
that, because although I love my Vista, when I do a full wrap, it could take 3 hours.
Yes. That's so
So
important for people to know. Like, just because it's an $800 laser and it does full wrap tumblers, it's going to take some time because it's only 10 watts. And if you go up to, you have the S1, right? So that's a 40-watt diode.
my
You
S
can,
one, like my S1 one is 20 watts.
is it okay? My S1's a 40 watt. So that's my jump up from there.
Mhm.
You can also get the Vision in a 40 watt, and they go a lot faster. And so if you think that you're going to start, you have found a niche in your community and you know that people want tumblers with maybe your high school logo on it or whatever you're making, understand that if one tumbler takes 3 hours, you're going to put a lot of time into this. And so, like you said, it might be better to understand what you want to make and then maybe save up for that 40 watt or whatever that faster laser is going to be. So you're not in your basement for 12 hours a day making tumblers.
Yeah, something that I don't recommend. Yeah, don't buy a 10 watt thinking that you're gonna do a full wrap and have a business in full wrap, because it's not gonna be. You can make it, but time is
Hmm.
money, and having 3 hours,
Yes.
nobody's gonna pay you for your time. So I don't
No,
recommend that.
no.
You can do maybe a name or a simple
Hmm.
design on a tumbler, but not a
Hmm.
full wrap. Full wrap are meant for maybe yourself, your friends, or for a watts or a CO2 laser,
Yep.
because I had, and people ask me for it, make one full wrap on the 10 W the Vista. And I said,
Hmm.
okay, I'm gonna make one. And I recorded the whole entire thing, and it took
Yeah.
3 hours and 10 minutes.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
beautiful.
Yes,
It's
they are.
beautiful.
They
And
are.
yeah, it's achievable, but I don't recommend it for a business. It's
Hmm.
something that you can do maybe twice per week or something like that, but no, because imagine people say, okay, I can do it 3 hours. You tumbler, you can have a power outage,
Hmm.
or maybe your design was not correct, was
Hmm.
misplaced, and 3 hours that you wasted is not fun.
No.
So
No. And that's so important to know. Like I don't do a lot of tumblers, but when I do them, they're for me or for my daughters, or they're just for fun to do because they do take a lot of time. And your time is money. And so if you have somebody who's looking to purchase a laser and they know that I'm going to try to sell something, I'm going to try to make this into a business, understanding the time it takes to make the product is really, really important. Like you could cut and engrave some little wood ornaments in 20 minutes, and that's a much more effective product to try to sell than full wrap tumblers.
Definitely. A lot of people start with studs,
Yep.
earrings, and those are great because they're small and you can make
Mm-hmm.
so many with a small piece of wood. And I think that if you find that niche and that niche works for you where you live, is an alternative. Like for me, I started with my Glowforge with cutting boards. They were
Oh yeah.
affordable because I had to buy the cutting board. I just designed the military logo and put it
Mm-hmm.
on the cutting board, and I was doing that like, oh my goodness, by the dozens daily, and it was
Yeah.
so fast because it was only a design. But
Yeah.
engraving take longer than cutting, and it's a process. So it's something that I tell people: when you want a laser, take that in consideration and do your research.
Mm-hmm.
Don't just watch a video
Yes.
and fall in love with the project,
Yep.
because I have the experience and I can tell you, yeah, it's easy to start, but do your research in terms of how things are how cutting, engraving, and scoring works, the time it
Mm-hmm.
takes. If you like to design, you don't like to design, you have to pay for designing. There's so many things that you have to take in consideration when you have a laser, and or a laser or any machine for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And also, people they think that everything is easy. It's easy, you do
Yeah.
your research
Yes.
and you learn
Yes.
and you want to learn. But there's something that breaks my heart so many times, and I try my best to help people, is when they send me a message. Yes, I bought my laser 3 months ago, I'm still in the box.
Oh, I know, that's so sad.
I said no, and I try my best to help them, like give them their push to do that, because
Yeah.
when you get something, the most important part is starting, and starting with
Yep.
the basic stuff. Don't start with the full wrap. Start
Mm-hmm.
with
Mm-hmm.
just a name. Start
Yep.
with maybe some
Yep.
earrings, and that's why
Mm-hmm.
I do those little projects before I show a big project, because I think
Yeah.
it's unfair for my followers too, that they see like these big projects out of the bat and they think, oh, it's easy. It
Yeah.
could be easy, but practice makes progress. So
Yes.
always start from the basic, and then start you get your like some people start with the diode laser, and I know people that start with the diode laser and right now has like three CO2 lasers. They have
Yeah.
a fiber, they have a
Yep.
UV, because there are like 4 or 5 different lasers in the market right now,
Mm-hmm.
and the market is growing.
Oh, so much. And I think this year we're going to see an explosion of even more. It doesn't see signs of slowing down.
Oh no, I just saw something from Exul. I think they have something related to like metals. It's
Some kind of like CNC machine. I just saw that too. I know nothing about it more than what I saw, but it looks incredible. So we're growing. And if you're right, if you have somebody who just sees one YouTube video, like maybe one of yours or one of mine, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm going to buy that." But they don't really know what it can do or what the effort is. So it's so important to do your research, find channels like yours, join those Facebook groups. So Xtool has them, We Create has them, Glowforge has them, and ask your questions and learn from other users, because most of them are really friendly and they're so kind and they're willing to answer your questions. And,
our
and we need
community
that.
is the best.
The laser community is phenomenal, and they will share with you and they will help you because we want to see each other succeed. But yeah, that you get it and it's sitting in a box. Like, you just spent thousands of dollars on this. Don't do that. Like, get it out and go find a community that's going to help you learn how to create, because you can't have a successful business if you do nothing, if it sits in the box.
Exactly. You grow and you're gonna make mistakes. I have my mistakes. I have some.
Oh my
I forgot
gosh.
to input the settings correctly, or I placed the material that in the incorrect place, or my tumbler
Mm-hmm.
moved. We have all those kind of things, and that's how you
Mm-hmm.
learn from. And I never
Yeah.
call them mistakes. It's situations where you learn more and you grow.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
don't think that we have everything figured out and everything is perfect, which is not.
No. Oh my gosh. I have a hard time throwing things away. And so I have just this bin of test materials and stuff I've messed up on, the amount of tumblers in there that I've messed up on. And then I just keep learning on the other side, because I'm going to make mistakes. And I've been using lasers for years. I actually just did a video this week on Dollar Tree blanks that you can engrave with your laser. So I just went and bought a ton of different things. They were all $1.25. And then you test them and you learn how settings work. You understand power and speed and lines and placement and focus, and just expect to make mistakes.
Oh, definitely. And those are,
Hmm.
I have more fun with those when you're testing things. That, okay, so
Hmm.
this setting is good for this, but not for that. I was making
Hmm.
a sign for my business on my new Mira. I was so excited. But,
Hmm.
and I was like, just sending it. I said, no, I'm not going to send it. And I was making circles. I made like 10 different circles
Uh-huh.
between cutting, engraving, and scoring, just to see how the material work with
Yeah.
my laser. Because people, something that people don't realize, they ask for settings,
Hmm.
but the material that you have is not the same material that I have.
It's
Even the
even if it says
same,
it is.
exactly, even the same
Yeah.
wood is from a
Yep.
different tree, and it's
Yep.
going to behave differently. The temperature where you live is a different
Yep.
temperature where I live, and that's why I always tell people tumblers are different because usually tumblers were the same way, but for wood they behave these different ways, so you should always sacrifice one.
Yes,
Sacrifice
always.
something.
Buy two, sacrifice one, for sure.
Exactly, and I'm careful about that. Like, a lot of people always come and say, okay, I have this thing that I want you to engrave. I'm like, okay, you have to buy two.
Yeah.
Because I could have luck, and then the first one is gonna be like perfect, but
Hmm.
then the second one then doesn't work. I had the second one. I always say that, and people just it hurts my my feelings when people go to social media and say, okay, somebody gave me this, and they show something very very expensive. Can you give me settings? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh, no.
No, no, don't do that. Because then you
Yeah.
have to pay that person for the item. You may have like the luck and the experience, but always be careful because wood behaves in different ways. Always,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can have all the experience, and I can tell you the people. I know people that have lasers for the entire like decades, and
Hmm.
like the big CO2s, even fiber, and they always say that you have to
Yeah.
test.
You do, and that's so important to know. So I think kind of the biggest takeaways here are if you're looking to get a laser, do your research, join some groups, go on YouTube, find your channels, which we're going to link down below, because you need to understand what you're getting into. And as easy as some of these lasers are, like we mentioned, we create an X tool. They have their own software. They're so easy to use. You still need to practice. You still need to practice,
Definitely,
work on
yes,
those settings. It's going to take some work, but if you put in the research and you put in the time, you can have a hobby or you can have a successful business. Like it is
definitely.
entirely possible.
And
Um
and if you are
yeah.
somebody that learn fast and
Mhm.
outgrow your machines fast, as I always say, I was using my Mira. I was thinking, oh my goodness, how many people are gonna have so much fun with this machine? And you
Yeah.
feel like, okay, no, it's too big, no, it's too complicated. But if you have the budget, I think you can start with something like that if you have the budget.
Mhm.
Because I have seen so many. I just saw a video of somebody, and she paid that machine in 8 months, and that machine costs a little bit
Wow.
of money.
It
But
does.
but she was saying that she thought about getting a diode and then getting a CO2 laser, like a lower kind. But she put these goals on her table and said, I'm going to pay for this and I'm going to do it. And she has so much success that she bought a second EO
Oh
machine.
my gosh, that's
Like,
amazing.
super amazing. And something that I want to also talk about, which is important, is safety.
Yes.
Lasers are a lot of fun. I use my lasers every single day. Like, I have to
Yeah.
be honest with you. There's no day that I don't turn on a laser. Sometimes I
Yeah.
use three and four at the same time. But that's how much fun they are. But something
Yeah.
I think very important is safety. Not only
Mhm.
never leave your machine running by themselves. That's one.
Mhm.
Two, don't engrave all type of materials. You have to do your
Yeah.
research on type materials because there's fumes that are not good for you, for your
Mhm.
family. And something that people don't know is that those fumes also can deteriorate your machine,
Yeah.
because the corrosion can damage your machine, and those are big investment. Not that it's less important than your safety, but
You just keep it in mind.
exactly, because no, I put it outside and let the air outside clean it up. I said no, because it's damaging your machine. Maybe you're
Yeah.
not breathing it, but so sometimes it's something bad that I always tell people to take in consideration. Safety is important. Don't laser
Mhm.
everything you find. I've been
Yep.
seeing people lasering sublimation tumblers. Don't do it.
Mm. No,
Let me do
there's
it.
coatings on there, and you don't want to breathe that in. Even with the best air purifier, we don't want to be breathing that in.
Yeah, and the cost of a sublimation tumbler is almost as a regular tumbler for laser engraving. So just buy the correct materials, have fun, and if you need anything, I'm here for you.
I love that. So, Betsy, your brand is Amore to Create, and I have got all of your channels kind of listed down below. I will say Betsy is an excellent teacher. Like I said, her Tumblr videos will make you feel confident to do a full wrap. And whether you're selling it or not, you're going to learn something. Um, this has been a great conversation. I hope that our viewers today have taken away some really good tips for getting into their first laser and they know where to go for more help.
Thank you for the opportunity and keep having fun. And we keep seeing each other around.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Betsy.
Ciao, bye.